All right, everybody, welcome back to the Roofr Masterclass. I am your host, Pete McKendrick, with my sidekick, Nick. And we are happy to be back. Lots going on here at Roofr, and we are excited to share a bunch of stuff with you today, right, Nick? We've got a lot of stuff coming up.
The Roofer team, the tech team on behind Pete and I, because I definitely know how to do tech, but they can consistently shoot out great updates. A lot of them from people watching, so a lot of our users that
Yep.
are suggested it. So
Yeah, a lot of good user feedback that we've put into play here, and these guys definitely have their foot on the gas for sure.
oh my God, do they ever? It's almost hard to keep up. But so we have a lot of great features. If you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, you'll see those being posted out. But we figured we could do a masterclass to show you some of the new stuff and how you can utilize it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity. I know it's in the past, it's been a challenge to communicate changes, especially if they're smaller, minor changes to the product, and really keep everybody in the loop so they know, what things we've added and how they can potentially utilize those to be successful. So, I think the idea of doing this masterclass and kind of sharing all the new stuff now that we've compiled a decent little list here is a good idea for sure.
I love it. I love it. So, Pete, being on the product side, what was one of the favorite things that we released recently?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of asks for the ability to push some stuff out of the IE, so that was a big one. We'll cover that here shortly, and then I think the way that proposals has evolved for me over the last little bit here, obviously from when I first came here, proposals was just something we were talking about doing, and to see that isn't that crazy? Hasn't been that long, and to see that evolve to what it is today, and all of the features that are involved in that and how easy it is to use still. I was on the road with the Rise Tour last week and being able to demo that in a couple different cities and just being able to just manipulate that system and move through it so quickly, and it flows so nicely and it'd be so easy to use and create these proposals and have such a large feature set at the same time just blows me away every time I get in there. Like the amount of tools that thing has is just second to none.
Yeah, it's really kind of coming second nature, and like being able to just build something quick. Like we know we preach speed to lead so much with this, with our master classes, with Rise, with our demos and everything. So being able to really break that down is a huge benefit. And being able to see how you're presenting now and really separate yourself from the competition with like really customizable proposals, that's where things really come in. And that's what's exciting about this. It's like we can go from a lead to a measurement to an estimate and send it out to the customer in like under 5 minutes now. So
Yeah.
how that changes your door knocking abilities, your speed to lead on call-ins or anything else, it just really opens up that door.
Yeah, and I'm always blown away by now the people that are really starting to utilize the whole platform together as a whole and how effectively it's working for their team, and also the unique use cases that are out there in the field. Like every time I talk to someone or go to one of these other cities, we always run into someone who's using Roofr in a very unique way, presenting it in a very unique way. And it's just amazing to see how they're finding success with the product.
Well, we got Amanda in the house right now, and she's apparently writing a Roofer proposal as we speak. So that's
There
super
you go.
interesting.
That's that. There you go.
GP.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I was talking to a contractor yesterday who writes proposals and is actually on the beta of our CRM and just filled it up with jobs already. And just to see the whole use of the product was just super impressive. So, and that's a little bone there of some stuff we've got coming up. But so I guess let's jump into it, right? Like, I'm sure everybody wants to see what we've got going on. No, there you go. Amanda's jumping the gun on us. She's talking about features, new ads before we're even there. So
Love it.
I like it. So you stole our thunder there, Amanda. That was one of our things we are going to talk about. So, but let's go right from the beginning. I mean, I like to demo in the way that it would operate kind of in a daily operation. So, I always start with IE and let's go there. Let's start with that instant estimator and what's new. What's new with the instant estimator?
So we've gone over it before, but I just love bringing it up because I see all of our users kind of implementing it. This is one of our users, Sierra, is talking with Jessica Reyna, who developed this website for them. But being able to kind of have it pop out at any time here and open up, like you can see it scroll down with you on the side panel here. It's always available to kind of really entice that customer to get that instant estimate. And in the headers and in the footers, you have it open, ready to rock and roll. That's a great way to start to garner information. The way I like kind of phrasing this and how it's so important for roofers to kind of get on this train with it is because it's what customers want. It's I'm a stats guy. There's a stat out there that says that homeowners are Googling how much does my roof cost 600,000 times a year in the US alone. Like, it's crazy. So it's able to get everything moving from there. And people want that information. Just like if I was going to buy a truck, go on a Ford's website, I can get an F-250 with the engine block that I want, the tires, the interior, the Bluetooth, get a price instantly, but I still got to talk to a sales rep. So being able to really open that up and showing the customer what's going on with it in your Google ads, your Facebook ads. Here's an example of my dad's company having it on Facebook directly built in there, estimate in 30 seconds, really gets that information out right away. And as Amanda just posted in the chat, you're able to close things quick too. She closed a 50K job from an instant estimate, which is unbelievable. I love hearing that. So let's go quickly over what the instant estimator is as a refresher, and we'll talk about how it's updated. So one of the cool things is with the instant estimator, you can do residential or commercial, pitched or flat, doesn't matter. And that's a huge benefit to contractors that offer multi-trade. But right off the bat, the customer will go in and we start asking them qualifying questions similar to what you would be doing on the phone, right, Pete?
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How steep's your roof, Mrs. Jones? What's on there right now? What do you want to go back with? If you notice that drops off because we only show what you're offering. When do you want it done? And are you interested in financing? Pete, do you know a good financing company that you could reco here?
Yeah, I know a few. We have a nice integration with GoodLeap.
Yeah, so that works out nicely. That goes directly into our proposal. So I'll show you that a bit later too. So I went in, found a random house in Hollywood, Florida. And I just paste that in there if it was the customer. And once I type in, it's going to capture that house and do like a nice dopamine kick to the face for that homeowner. They're going to be like, damn, that's my house. It's colored out there. They're shaded in. I got a square footage count there. And the back end, we're adding pitch and really start to make it interactive and full of fun for them. So they're going to be bought in and you're separating yourself from the competition. And they could write in things like, please help. It's leaking in my son's room. Nice and easy, get that going on there, and then we'll tease them a little bit. We're not going to give anything away for free, Pete. If we want something, if you want something free, we want something in return. I'm Italian, it's like the mafia. So make sure that's all lined in there. But so we'll ask for the customer information. They type it in, and then instantly anything that you offer shows up. So it could be customizable, good, better, best with shingles, roof rejuvenation, metal, flat roofing, coatings, roof maintenance, snow removal. I have a guy in Tahoe that's using it for snow removal, which is pretty cool. Solar. You can map anything to square footage, right? So if you have a wattage per square footage, you can pop in a price there. And what's really cool is that we show ranges now. So you can do solid prices or ranges because you want to give some wiggle room for you there as well. Financing built directly in with your rates and everything. Carousel of photos, customized copies, all that fun stuff right there. And the customer can click on one or multiple of these options to show their interest. So really, really cool stuff there. And then you can create as many links as you want. And where does this help? Marketing. I want to know exactly where things are coming from so I understand what's going on with my marketing. I don't know, Pete, would you say that this is one of the biggest black holes for roofers, especially new business owners, is understanding marketing and where your dollars are being spent?
Yeah, absolutely. Tracking, hey, where am I spending money, right? Obviously, if we're a small business, we probably don't have a big budget for marketing. So we want to really keep a close eye onto it. We want to see, what's performing better than others. And this is an easy way to do that. With some of the things we have coming in the near future too, it's going to make it even easier to gather this data and see it really quickly. But just being able to divide these up and see where your leads are being generated from, being able to create this IE for each individual marketing source is huge to be able to break it apart. Also, just speak really quickly. Last week, the ranges were a big one. That was a big conversation last week when I demoed the product a few times. They really, really liked the ability to give a range and not be tied to a specific number. That they either were lowballing or shooting over a little bit. That way, they could put a little bit of playroom in there, but still give the customer a pretty reasonable quote. And that they were big fans of having the range.
Yeah, that's perfect. We can build that out for that right there for them, and
Yep.
being able to track everything. And then once a job comes in, you're notified immediately by email, so you can go in and you have it set up where you can actually see the information from it. So
Yep.
when we're talking about separating yourself from the competition, the way I like looking at it is, we've talked about this at length at previous masterclasses, but roofing's not sexy. People are not planning ahead on their roof. They're normally calling when there's like a problem, right? So if you can match the customer's urgency with urgency, what is that going to do for you compared to everybody else? When they're calling these companies and waiting for a price, waiting for information, if you can get them a price instantly, which, by the way, you're price conditioning them, which is a nice benefit, but you're being price transparent, so separating yourself from the competition, giving them information, and that's going to open up that door. But now the second part is, how fast can you get out to them? If you already give them that price up front, that's good, but what's the magic 3 words there? Speed to lead.
The lead, right?
Exactly. So there's a stat out there: you're 7 times more likely to close a job if you contact them within the first hour of their inquiry. That's a lot of times. That's like that many times. Oh, no, that many. So you're able to get that out there. Now, if you reach out to them and you're like, instead of everybody else that they're talking to, because they're talking to other roofers and they're saying, hey, Mrs. Jones, how steep is your roof, blah, 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 you already have that information. So when you talk to them, you go, hey, Mrs. Jones, I noticed that you had some leaking in your son's room. Is that correct? And you want to go back with asphalt, but it's pretty urgent. You're interested in financing. Is that correct? And I see that you're interested in standing seam as well as the Dynasty option. Not a problem. Let me get everything moving for you as soon as possible. I definitely muted that, so that's fun. But let me get out everything to you as soon as possible and get that on its way. How are you separating yourself from the competition there?
Yeah, one of the big things we talk about when I was on the road there is, lead generation versus lead capture, and how important the lead capture part is, for exactly the reasons that you said, right? We're able to profile this customer now. Our sales guys are able to have a much more educated conversation because we've gathered this information about things like their timeline, what they're interested in, whether they want financing, right? I may know how to sell now. Maybe I can lead with financing based off of their questions, and it allows my sales team to be much more educated in their conversation with the customer, much more proactive in going out there, because the leads are flowing in right through here. Like you said, we're getting notified that a new lead is in there. We can jump on it right away. And, it takes that lead generation. We could generate leads in lots of ways, but it depends on how we're capturing them and how we're efficiently utilizing those leads and being able to figure out, okay, are we getting good leads or are these just garbage leads, and being able to filter through all that. The IE does that for us, right? Like, it filters out the tire kickers. It gives us some good information here that we can work off of. So it's just a great tool all the way around. And now we've added the ability to send it to your existing CRM. So if you guys are CRM users, we've now added some Zapier tools that allow you to move it from the IE, as some lead information over into your existing CRM. So if you are currently using one of the other CRMs in the market, this is a quick way to zap it over there.
Not only that, like, I was talking to some roofers that a lot of them are using a CRM, might be switching over to ours, but they still want to use something like Go High Level, which is
Correct,
a different CRM, right? Because you could set cadences, sequences, all that stuff. And it's a great opportunity to send that information with customer name, address, and everything over directly there and add it to a campaign. So this is the Go High Level one. For reasons I don't understand, their Go High Level's Zap is called Lead Connector and not Go High Level. It took me forever to find them the first time, but super powerful. And the integration looks great. The spit over to the new lead bucket and add into a campaign is fantastic. So it really sets yourself up for that. but it allows you to kind of reach out to these people and have a cadence to it as well, nurture them, not have to jump out to them right away. That helps with the tire kickers too, right? Like you're going to know what's going on. If you get a lead that comes in and there's no selections like you see down here, might be a tire kicker. I'd still give them a call, or at least put them in a drip campaign from Go High Level, get some information and kind of wait till they are ready to buy. But if you see someone click on these things, that's a high intent lead. That's someone that you want to go for right away. So it's a really powerful opportunity. And then you could go in and talk to your sales rep, right? So I can go at Cam, tag them directly in here and say, appointment is at 12. Please go take photos on company cam and build proposal. You have like an instant chat with your team directly in there to allow you to kind of have that pure transparency, which really opens up the door for so much more on everything here, doesn't it?
So what you're saying, Nick, is there's no excuse now for me not to be the first one in the door.
If there is excuse, it's pretty good, or else you're doing laps, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with all the comms tools out there, I mean, we often talk about, how there's so much technology out there now, and there are so many great comms tools that you could, very efficiently move your data from the IE now via that Zap into a comms tool and, be able to get to that customer pretty much instantly as soon as they've filled out the IE. And like Nick said, it's just taking that profiling, and vetting that customer one step further now, because you throw them into a campaign. You don't have somebody necessarily wasting the time giving them a call and everything. Let's get some information from them via that, or maybe even send them a calendar link and allow them to book their own appointment. I know a lot of guys are doing that now, and then you weed out, anyone who's not truly interested. So
yeah, really focus your time on doing the things that matter rather than the things that are chasing it. So often in my demos that I talk to customers is just like I'm treading water. Like I'm getting by, but I'm treading water. Just there's so much stuff as a business owner. You're wearing all the hats. And if you could take something off your plate, kind of build this as like, I phrase it to one guy is like, this is kind of like an admin assistant here. So it's going to really open up that door and help you out with a bunch of stuff. So, and then one of my favorite things to say is this kind of sets up a standard operating procedure for you and your team, right? You're able to go right away and create a order report or create a DIY. Our DIYs are $0 to $3.50. Our reports, we're pretty famous. I don't know if we have to mention on their price, but mine as well, right? It's $3.50 to $0. And our reports are $10 flat. They get back in 3 hours or less with material calculations, your logo on it, and something nice and fresh that are coming out in the next month, right, Pete?
Yeah, lots of great stuff, that I think we've been adding here along the way. And I think there's some really good, really good use cases of this tool. A lot of DIY people along the way that I've met over the last couple of months, and that are using both DIY and the paid measurements from us. So, great use of the product. But yeah, we've got some really great additions coming out with waste factor, right? Recommended waste factor.
A lot of you guys and girls have been asking about that recommended waste factor for not only retail, but for insurance cases there. And we listened and we have that built out. So as soon as I finish this guy here, I'm going to show you, but the power of having that to your advantage there is now you're putting one less objection in your way if you're an insurance contractor. So you're not having the carrier kind of push back on you and say, hey, I need to know what the rate waste is. I don't trust what you're saying for waste. If you have an objective third party coming in there and showing what the waste factor can be, you're going to get less friction and easier to approve that job. And we got that feedback from a lot of people, and we wanted to be able to help out with that. So we added that in, and that's going to be coming out in the next month. So you have that in there. And if you're a retail contractor, it's not just for insurance. So like, especially if you're new to this industry, or you hire sales reps that are new to this industry and they don't know exactly what waste factor is or don't realize the importance of it. Well, now you can kind of build that directly in and have it set up where you can break it down piece by piece, the same measurements that you know and love, everything in there, but with the fancy recommended waste factor in there, showing you those still 0 to 20%, but pointing in where that recommended waste is. So through calculations that we do in the back end, it automatically will show you that it's 11.63%. And here's the waste factor over here. As another example here, we have a smaller roof that's kind of built out this way, right? So you can build these things out really, really easily and have those sent directly out to you. So you're able to show this off and really break it down piece by piece and open up that door to make your selling game a lot easier now.
Yeah, I love this because, like you said, it kind of takes away the guesswork. So if you have some new people out there, maybe they don't understand waste factors or the importance of it, like Nick said, it kind of dials them in a little bit more. But for the people that are more experienced, you still have the other waste factors there, so you could pad it a little bit more if you need to or whatever you think. Obviously you're not held to what we come up with, so. But now we definitely have that recommended waste factor in there to streamline the process a bit for you.
Yeah, it's really, really cool to kind of have that built out. And then for the standard operating procedure, the next thing will lead into our next big update. So as we know, we can take our measurements and build out a proposal right on the spot. Really easy to kind of build that in. I can let's go to a good, better, best option here and use this template, and automatically it's going to pull that information over. And in 3 seconds or less, I built out 4 different quotes. These look a little bit different though, don't they, Pete?
Yes,
Things here. So one of the big things is roofing headers. So section headers, roofing headers.
Yeah.
Dumb. But you have section headers now to like really not only help out maybe a carrier taking a look at your proposal, but the homeowner. It's really nice. It's clean. Your purpose of a proposal should be educating them, teaching them about everything, what's going on, how everything's looking, and explaining what the products are. And we've always had the nice benefit of having description items in there to educate them. But now if you can kind of section it by piece, so like I got the roofing side, the underlayment, the flashing, the venting, my labor and disposal all broken down, and my values automatically populate. Turns into the cost of goods sold. My margin's automatically there. That's weird that it's automatically there, right, Pete? And taxes. And the other thing that's automatically there, waste factor. 2 new things that we've added in on top of this. So one of them is adding waste factor in from the catalog level. So I know, Pete, you've been in roofing tech forever, but there's a lot of products out there that you are always going to have the same waste factor, give or take, on it. So like you're looking at drip edge, unless it's the most cut up roof ever, you're probably around 5 to 7%. Same with underlayment, ice and water. So you can keep that in there. And it could also be a safety net for you too. If you got new sales reps, you know at least you have a base of this amount built in. They could change it if they want and go up to like 25%. You can see that change automatically, but that's that in there. So that's going to help out big time for speed to building these proposals, isn't it?
Yeah, I love the fact that we can do waste factor per the line item. I know some other softwares have done it as like a wholesale addition on the back end. Like you could preset your waste factor, but it was more or less just a wholesale change to the whole entire document. It wasn't per the actual individual material. And so that really lets you dial it in. Like you said, you're going to have a standard waste on some of these items that, or if you're really on top of your stuff, maybe you're calculating what your general waste is for your area and the types of houses that you're doing. So now you can plug that number in, and like Nick said, it doesn't have to be spot on, but at least it's a baseline to get your guys started with. And and it can be per the material line item, which really dials it in pretty significantly.
Yeah, really.
I love the headers. I think the headers are a fantastic addition. It just gives such a clean look for like you said, specifically for the homeowner, but also, any untrained eye that potentially is looking at this or seeing one of our proposals for the first time. It's just such a clean, organized look, to the proposal itself.
Yeah, it's cool. One of the things that blew me away, because I'm such a child, but when we were first released to our team, when we were like talking about it, I was like, okay, cool. Like I can move things into where it needs to be, right? So like, drip edges and under flashing, so I'm going to move it here. But I didn't realize that when you move it, all of them move with it. I was just like, one of the cool things is like, dude, look at this. So good job, product team, for impressing Nick. So it made a big bonus. But the other thing, when we're talking about speed to building quotes and also protecting yourself, making sure that things are in there, is profitability protection. That's huge, especially when you got sales reps out there trying to close a job and that they don't really care how low they go. They just want that job, right? They want to make sure they're going. But you as a business owner want that job, but you don't want to lose money on it. So we have default and floor margins now. So as you can see, I can't go below 20%. You can set that up for each option, each template, everything broken in there so that you can have that set up right away. If you have sales reps, you're always protected. The other great way of this is if you're just a sole prop guy, right? Like you're running and operating your business, you got a lot of hats you're wearing, you're trying to get out these proposals, it's late at night. Sometimes you might forget to put on margin. And then you're like, crap, I just sent this out to the homeowner and it's, I don't know, 42,000 instead of 59, right? That's a lot. And you're going to get owned if you don't cancel that signature. So as a protection, you could set a default and a minimum. So it's just automatically there. So you always know that it's coming in and you can move it and monitor it if you want to go down. But you can set that up for success. So speeding up the creation of these proposals is even quicker now and more accurate with waste factor built into line items and profitability guardrails for margin on all your options.
Yeah, and this speaks highly to what you were talking about earlier, which is always working towards that standard operating procedure, right? Now I can bring in someone who potentially isn't educated as well on quoting roofs, right? And now they can take our measurements, all the tools that are there. We've got the suggested waste factor. They're not guessing. We've got our waste factors based off of our knowledge. We can build those waste factors in for them so they're not having to go in and manually figure out what waste factor they would need for the individual line items. And then the profit margin, like you said, you just have someone who's fairly new and uneducated and doesn't necessarily know how much they should be charging for a job like this, or maybe they forget, or maybe, like you said, they just want to give away the farm just to make a sale, so all of these things you want to protect yourself against, and so everything just, it's just more and more things to dummy proof it and to standardize that operating procedure so that it's less likely for your people to be unsuccessful inside of this platform.
Yeah.
So love the guardrails. I think it's a great way. And even the default, I know a lot of guys used to say, hey, my default profit margin is always this. And the only place we go from there is up. And if we have an opportunity, a specific situation that allows us to bump it up a little, we will. But for the most part, we're hovering right around the same profit margin every time. So being able to set that up on the back end and not have to rely on anybody to move it and set it up on a per proposal basis that's a tough word to say, right? Per proposal. Wow. I should have worded that better, huh? but and I think that makes a huge difference, right? It's going to make life easier for everybody. And like you said, then that way I can sleep at night as the owner and not have to worry about, mistakes being made and potentially costing me money.
Yeah, it's making that easy. And what's cool is it does it for every page. Like I got that set up there. I don't have a header set on both these ones, but you can see that my waste factor, my margin's already baked in, so it's good there. We also have our intro pages now that you can build out. We have a professional design team in our implementation that will build stories about your company so you sell on value, right? One of the big things, actually, I'll hold that until the next one because I have a rant to go on value-based selling when it comes to retail or insurance. So really good stuff in there. But one of the big changes we made is now like our text features. So adding text pages, you could actually see how things look in real time and build out these pages so you can not kind of guess how it's going to look, but see how it's going to look. Add in initials. You could add in cosigner initials as well, building directly in here so you can have everything set up. Multi-signatures are huge for contracts built into your quote. Terms and conditions that I want to have them on there as well, and really open up that door as well.
I love the multi-signature option, and I love the inline signatures and being able to drop initials in there. There's just so many use cases where that comes into play. And I know I worked with a contractor who had a sheet that had to be initialed in his contract. That was just simple things. It was more or less a what to know for the customer. And what he was doing was not only was he identifying or allowing the customer to read through all these things and know, what to expect when they came to do a job, but he was also holding his sales guys accountable to make sure that they reviewed that information because they had to get those initials on each individual line item. So, things like, hey, make sure we're not liable for your bushes. We're going to take your satellite dish off. All these simple things that, maybe sometimes we take for granted that a customer wouldn't know or expect, and then it comes back to bite us later on.
Yeah.
This way he was having them initial that, hey, we reviewed this with you and you're knowledgeable of this now. So, it was great use of the initials. So, I always pushed for that with our product team very early on. I said, hey, love the idea of being able to have the signature in multiple places and also being able to initial. So, again, great work from our product team to make that happen and get that in there. And, like I said, they just continue to amaze us with the stuff that they're pushing out. So
it's so clean and easy to do. And just like you're saying, like when you're going through, you want to make sure that everybody's set up, like, and that nobody's getting surprises. And we know that surprises can't happen with roofing. So just like you were saying, like, hey, if we have an extra layer of shingles, it's X amount initial here. So you understand it, so that if God forbid you got like 2 or 3 layers and I go, hey man, this is another $2,000. They're not like, what the hell? You lied to me, blah, blah,
yeah.
blah. No. We have signing right here. We went through this together. So that's nice how it's kind of presented up front. And one of the new things that we just released, and it's coming out, I think today, but I have early access. So I'm going to show you some cool stuff here. So I like customizing our proposals and really kind of setting up a beautiful presentation for that homeowner. So one thing with our old cover page that was difficult was I didn't know what the proposal would look like. So right off the bat, I want to change this name, right? So I could say proposal for, oh my God, Pete, don't make noise. Hollywood, Florida place. Really weird English, but you can have that set up there now. A date is there, and I could set up a new image. So that's not anything new. We could put on our own images, but the way it's presented now is so clean and nice. And I'm able to edit it and see what it would look like in real time. So if I want this layout, or maybe I want a different layout, I want to go to this one here, but I don't want those garbages in. So how do I do that? Well, I got this crop tool now where I can really zoom in and bring it down. So I could kind of get this into the way that I want it. Set it done. Now I got a nice blue sky situation here. Really be able to zoom in. I could add my cosigner if I want. I know Pete is really cool, so he wants to be in this as well. So get that Roofr and get that in there. You could have the cosigner built out right off the bat too. So I have a really nice presentation, and you want to see what it would look like, right? I don't want to have to click on preview and send and then find out that's how it's looking like. So it's going to save you some time and some design efforts and make it like really nice and easy to build. But now you get this proposal. You went from lead to measurement to proposal in less than 5 minutes, and you're ready to send it out. If you're Amanda, you could be watching a masterclass and building a proposal right now. So being able to get all these in. And the cool thing is our team, when you subscribe, we have an implementation team that builds these for you. And then we teach you how we did it so that you're self-sustainable. Doesn't mean that we're done after that. You can come get more meetings and stuff like that. But we're going to sit down with you, get your catalog, get your information, and get that out. One of the coolest plans, the stats that I heard recently about our implementation team, pay close attention to this because this is going to make you guys money. People who have gone through, contractors who have gone through our implementation stage and had us build out the first round of proposals for them are 1.6 times more likely to get signatures than people who have built them themselves. That's a lot. That's almost 2 times more likely to get signatures, and that you just started this tool.
Yeah, that's a powerful stat. And I love this, by the way. I love this addition that we made to being able to see it as we design it. I mean, it's just going to save you so much time and effort, and it's just so clean from a user experience. As a contractor setting this up, right, I don't want to be spending a lot of time having to potentially preview it and then go back, edit, go back and preview it. Now I can see it just changing in real time and see what it's going to look like for the customer. It's a great addition.
It's huge. What's really cool too is that here's another one thing. Hey, Waylon, I'll get your number. Don't worry. But we've also added license numbers as well. So contact forms, websites, license numbers, all that stuff is directly built in here now. So if you have stipulations, like you're in Florida, for example, you need your license on there on your proposals, you could add that in directly in here so you're covered. And that's going to be not only on that page, but on the section page and headers on everything as well. So you're going to see that all broken down. So that's really nice and clean for it. But right off the bat here, the presentation's beautiful. It's a really good breakdown. It's enticing. Now here's our professional design team at it, building this out. This is actually right from my dad's company to kind of sell them on the company before they sell you on, before you sell them on the product, and break that down. So this is going to really help you out with all this stuff. Talk about your team, your testimonials. If you're fun with my parents, you could add your dog in there and have that in built out. And this is kind of another version of it. And then for the section headings, you can have it broken down. Very easy, right? Roofing, underlayment, flashing, venting, everything broken down with descriptions to educate them, be transparent. There it is, the first time on this call that I said this. But
35 minutes in, take a long time.
That's a good record, I think. So, and I have good, better, best set up with an upgrade option here. You can have that all broken down piece by piece, signer and co-signer built in. And I have everything broken down with the brochures, the templates, everything in here. I can have my project map it, check them out directly built in as well. My installation includes with my initials for both co-signer and signer, photos, everything broken down from company cam directly integrated, and contracts. I need to break that all down piece by piece as well. So have that all set up, and maybe you're ready to sign that in person. So why don't we just flip that around to them? It's going to act like a legal doc. Just brings you right to where you need to be. They can click on one or multiple of these prices, and you can see this pricing change in real time. So it opens up and changes. If you want to add financing into that, GoodLeap, like you mentioned before, Pete, can be integrated directly into our proposals, where they can see the value of what they're getting per month, their plan, and apply directly into the site. Super clean, super easy. When you lead with financing, you're going to win more jobs.
Absolutely.
Pete, have you looked at buying a car recently?
Yeah, actually just bought one for my daughter last week.
What'd you buy?
She got a little Kia, little 4-door Kia. So
like
her first car, she starts driving next week.
Oh, that's amazing. Congrats. I did not know this.
Yeah.
But when you bought the car, did they tell you that it was going to be $18,500, or did they say how much is it a month?
Yeah, they go straight to payments, right? That's exactly how they sell you on it.
What's the difference with roofing? It's the same dollar amount. It's
exactly. Yep.
You're going to be breaking it down. So lead with financing, everyone. Like, that's how you're going to be able to close more jobs, retail or insurance. And insurance, you can finance at deductible. You can really help them out. Deductibles are out of control nowadays. You can have a $10,000 deductible on a $20,000 roof. People can't afford it. It's a recession. So you can have that all broken down, built in, and then the customer can put in notes like blue shingles, black aluminum. Ooh. How you spell that, but that's okay. That's what spell check's for. And then when you're signing, you have that built in. So they could either draw it in or type it in. Real easy here. And when you go through it, it's going to take you through like a legal doc. So go in, set it up. See, if I try to click on the cosigner, it's going to bring up the cosigner's information too. So really clean and easy to go through, yada, 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 all that. That's nice and easy. But not every job is a one-call close. So sending it out to the customer is really important. You could build in your email templates and send it directly out. Nick at Roofr, Pete at Roofr, really easy. But this is my favorite part. Such a tiny feature, but so powerful what they built. So follow-up is the place where sales reps go to die. That's it.
That's the truth.
So how can we change that view? And then salespeople are just not trusted as well because they're pushy. They're trying to sell you something. So how am I going to change that narrative, Pete, from being a salesperson to becoming a sales consultant, someone that is there to help rather than sell?
Yeah, it's following up is a huge part of it. I'm also going to steal a line from Eric Richardson, who was one of our speakers at Rise. He said, "I don't sell roofs, I sell experiences." And I thought that was absolutely genius. And, this tool really does that for you. It helps you to sell an experience, right? It helps you to really showcase who you are and what you do and the products that you use and sell that experience and educate that homeowner.
It's incredible to break that down and really open that door up. And one of the ways that you can do this and start to understand what's going on is seeing when something comes out, like when someone is looking at your proposal. So it's important. I'm going to flip over here and show my email. So email comes out from the homeowner, from you. It's branded. You view that proposal. It opens it up, nice and clean here. But now, in the next couple seconds, I'm going to get an email as the contractor saying that they just looked at my quote. So new feature alert. We should have sirens.
I know, right?
Super sweet. Just
flashing lights or something.
Just everyone's partying in the background. It goes on. But now we get notified that someone's viewed that proposal right off the bat. And if I go back into here and I refresh this page, I'm notified that it's been viewed. If I want to go deeper in this stuff, I could start to see every single time that quote is interacted with, time, dates, everything like that. So it changes your flow. Maybe you notice that they're always looking at it at 6 o'clock at night. That's when you should call them. Call them when they're around, when they're looking at it. And your calls now are different too. So we've been talking about separating yourself from the competition this entire time, from instant estimator to getting out to them quick to showing a beautiful presentation style proposal, all this stuff. But now separating yourself from the competition on that phone call, instead of being like everybody else, like, hey, Mrs. Jones, have you looked at the quote? Do you have any questions? It's like, yeah, I have, but like, I don't have any questions. Leave me alone. Now you can go, hey, Mrs. Jones, I noticed you looked at the quote a bunch of times. Is there anything I can help clarify for you? Or conversely, if they haven't looked at the quote yet, hey, Mrs. Jones, I noticed you haven't looked at the quote yet. Do you want to open it with me on the phone right now? We can go over it together, see if you have anything that I could help out with. You change that narrative. You're not a salesperson trying to sell them anymore. You're a consultant. You're helping them. And that's how you can win more jobs. You're separating yourself from the competition again. And going back into like the proposal side, we got to start leading with our best foot forward as roofers. We need to stop sending out carbonite paper quotes, PDFs, Excel sheets, all this stuff. Send something that people are going to be able to sit at home and take a look at with their husband or their wife and take a look at it and be like, look, I know this guy's $4,000 cheaper, but all this information that this person's giving me here makes me trust them. Your roof is your biggest investment. Your home is your biggest investment. Your roof is covering that investment. That's what you can display in that proposal. So providing a value proposition that they can take home and feel comfortable with after you've done your speech is how you're going to win jobs. And then being able to follow up with them accordingly is going to change that flow as well. So that's going to be really, really easy to do. Like, how would this help you in the follow-up game, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, right? Being able to see when a customer is looking at it, how often they're looking at it. These are all ways that, like you said, we can have a way more educated conversation with that customer. Now, when we get in contact with them, hey, just following up, any questions, maybe even say, hey, have you looked at it? Have you looked at it recently? Knowing very well that they have, now you can start the conversation a lot differently than just kind of going in blind if you're following up. Right. So it's a powerful tool to be able to know how much the customer is interacting with your contract. It may tell you like, hey, maybe something's holding them up. Let's figure out what it is. Is it price? Is it what they're working on? What material we're working with? Whatever it is, we can identify that very quickly and make some changes to potentially land that business. So a question for you here, Nick. Waylon asked, he said he doesn't like how the email goes to the customer and not to us, but now we have the ability to add multiple recipients, correct? So you could actually add an additional person, Waylon, if you wanted to, so that they could get access to that original email that goes out to the customer with the proposal on it. And then subsequently, you would also see when they open it and when they sign it, correct, Nick?
Yeah, it makes a huge ability to kind of open that up and get everything moving for it. So you can set it up in your back end, show all that through there, and getting everything going in there. So that's a huge thing there. Any other questions? I guess we went through.
So far, I think that's. Couple of other ones rolling in here. Waste Factor is only part of an Elite subscription. I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it'll be a $5 add-on if you're on a pay-as-you-go plan, and it will be available on all
packages, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that will open up that door a lot too. Amanda, if you were looking at this aspect here where you want to add in a copy and have the original proposal in there. What you can do is if you're in the jobs there, so say for example, I'm in this job here. Sorry, my internet decided to die out on me in the middle. But if it's in the job, I can make a copy of this proposal, Amanda, and now I have like a change order essentially. So I have this and I can now edit it and add this in. So maybe I need to add in gutters. That's what we're building in here. So I'll just add in these troughs, a map for what's already built in there, hit my margin, and I send this out to the customer. Now, if I go back into this, sorry, Pete, for all the emails that you're about to get. I shouldn't have put your real email in there.
All good.
But now if I go back into that job, Amanda, I have the original and the updated one in there. So you can see it broken down like this. So you have that ability in there as well. But yeah, you can get that all moving in there. Any other questions that we want to go over? Send it to us. Yeah, you could build that in. We'll have some features in there in the, oops, I'm here, Waylon, for email preferences. Right now we have everything broken down where you can set up reminders and everything else like that. Soon we'll have the ability to kind of CC people in there, something that has been suggested. So we'll build that out in the future as well. Any other questions?
Let's take the last couple minutes here, Nick, and just shift gears a little bit to some upcoming features. Let's talk, really quick about some of the things that aren't live, everything that you guys have seen with the exception of Waste Factor, which is coming shortly, the recommended waste factor. Everything else that Nick has showed you up to this point is live on the platform and available to be used. But we're going to shift gears a little bit here, and we're going to talk about some of the stuff that we have up and coming. So we often get asked when we're out in the field, hey, what are you guys working on next? What's coming down the pipe? What's the next big thing for Roofr? So let's talk about a little bit of those.
Yeah, there's a lot coming down. So we're excited for it. We have, as Kate in the chat was letting you guys know, we have our open beta kind of opening up in the next couple of weeks to a month so that our users will be able to start to play around with the CRM functionality with that. With that comes really interactive and clean job board experience, as you were seeing here, where you can set up automations. You can see how long something's been in the stage, the customer, what's going on inside of it, task automation, stage automation. So as you notice, I've moved this to proposal presented without dragging it over, but it allows you to kind of have that opportunity there. But if you notice also when I was diving into this, I was able to see the source of the business, where it came from. I could add attachments and stuff like this as well. So I could add in PDFs if I want. I could add in photos of the roof if I want. All these kind of things broken in piece by piece so that I have that stored in one spot. Communication with my team, updates as we go along, and task assignment and everything else like this. So it allows you to kind of really set yourself up for success as you go along. The other cool thing would be the assignee and due date. I could assign this over to Dale and say that this is due on the 28th, and the task is get to the customer and take progress photos, send that out, and he gets emailed for not only the task, but when this is going to be broken down here as well. So be able to break that in there as well. So that's another thing that will be coming out shortly as well. And my absolute favorite thing that's coming out is the performance dashboard. It's so wildly powerful, and the amount of things that you're going to be able to do with this, because it will be an end-to-end lead platform, from lead acquisition to customer and job management to measurements to proposals to attachments. You're going to be able to see stuff that you can't see in a normal CRM out there, where you can actually not only see, like, obviously my leaderboard and close rate, but I can start to see qualified to close rate too, because I'm seeing how that lead management's coming from the inside. Break that all down to see the value there, and I can filter for different areas there. I can see my average speed to lead. That's good because we talk about it all the time, but how does this affect me? What is this going to do for me? Well, I could check on my team and see different areas. Well, if I drive down my speed to lead lower, how is that affecting my close rate? And I could filter from different times to kind of understand where things are changing and where to make changes for the company and overall. So it's going to teach me how to be more efficient and more streamlined with my company a lot there. And on that note, my absolute favorite thing on here is this lead performance dashboard. It's so awesome. It's think about like marketing. We talked about it being a black box, right, Pete? And how often do you think most roofers are checking their spend and their results from marketing channels?
I think it's I think it was who did I do? Latif, that I did a podcast with, and he talked about cost of acquisition. How many roofers really know their cost of acquisition? What does it cost you, to acquire that lead and turn that into a sold job? And it starts here, right? It starts with knowing how much are you spending for your leads and what lead sources are performing and which ones aren't, right? Like I don't want to, flush money down the toilet here, so if I have lead sources that aren't generating leads, this is a very easy, efficient way to see that, and I think that it's an overlooked piece for sure. We throw money into a lot of traditional ways of marketing and just assume how they'll work, but we don't really keep track a lot of times of how efficiently they're working for us. And now we have the ability to do that, with this tool. So this dashboard is a huge tool for the owner of a company or an operations manager to just come in early on in the day at a glance, see where everything sits, see what's performing, who's performing, how efficiently the team is working inside of the platform. So, and this performance dashboard will just evolve as we go along. But even as just the starting version one of this is a very powerful tool for sure.
Yeah, to understand where your leads are coming from, and not only where your leads are coming from, how many are turning into appointments, how many are being won, what's my rate on there, on my percentages and stuff. I talk to most roofers, and most roofers, if they do, are doing online marketing, are checking the results quarterly, sometimes twice a year, maybe every year. That's such a big sample size, and those markets change so much in those times. So now I can kind of take a look and be like, okay, for the last 4 weeks here, what has been my best source? Well, Facebook looks like it's beating Google. So I'm going to put this month more money into Facebook than I did Google, and kind of start riding that wave rather than trying to make adjustments 3 months down the line where so much stuff could have changed. So when we're looking at driving down your costs, making you more efficient and making more things come in, this is going to be huge. And it's not just Instant Estimator, it's normal sources as well, like call-ins, Angie leads, whatever you want to put in there. You're able to open this up and really start to create something that's really, really valuable for you and understanding your spending. So like I always say, marketing is like renting, like you're paying month to month on these ad sites. So this is going to really help out with everything there. And then that's going to be able to see like how much is qualified and everything else, and what the average job one value, so you can see where to spend the money. But it doesn't stop there. We have job values and job quantities, and there's a big difference between the value and quantity, isn't there, Pete?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And depending on the type of business you are, or the market you're in, right? Like these could be obviously a big difference, right? Like seeing what our per job, value is, and seeing where we're winning most of our business. It all kind of comes together to paint a really good picture for us as to how we can more efficiently attack our business here and potentially make more money in the coming year.
Yeah, like especially with the lost jobs and values and stuff like that, I could see like, oh, well, went with a competitor is my top one. But because of quantities, I could actually see, well, actually my top one is don't offer the desired material. And I can't really change I went with a competitor, but I can change what material I'm offering. And that results in $37,000 in lost wages or lost revenue. So you could really start to see different things here and open it up and understand more about it. And then ultimately, pipeline cleanliness, where my bottlenecks are, who's bottlenecking it, what's the problem, is it stuck in pre-production or in proposal sign, what's going on there, and start to fix the issues before they happen. Because you could have a big bottleneck, an appointment scheduled and proposal presented, and you could see new leads are super low. So before you run out of leads, you could attack that with marketing for outbound campaigns, for organic marketing with your business cards and stuff, to really open up that door to see what's going on with that. So these are some really powerful features that you can kind of break out, build out, and see how that moves on the fly.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a guy who loves the process part of it, being able to identify opportunities in your process and be able to tweak those and clean those up for your team is a huge plus. So uh love that part of the performance dashboard, and being able to see all this stuff so quickly and easily at a glance. So
Yeah.
only a few minutes left for us. One last thing to talk about, right? And one more major feature coming on the heels of CRM hitting open beta here in a few weeks, and then moving on down the road as to what gets released after that. But one other big feature, and that is invoicing.
Boom. So invoicing coming in. So that actually completes the sales cycle, right? We talked about like
Right.
the sales system, lead acquisition, measurement, proposals, and invoicing. So we are, I'm going to give you a big time sneak peek on this because this is in a staging environment here. But we're going to be able to have invoices built in here where you can actually create invoices from the actual job here and open in. And I could set due dates for these, which is really nice and clean, saying like, hey, I need 30 days notice on here. I could add information, change the customers, and add items in there. So let's go certain teed.
Yep, and it's pulling it right out of your catalog. So quick and easy to add the items here and get these invoices set up to send out.
Yeah, it makes it really easy to kind of build that in here. Where I could set that up, add multiple items. So let's just say Ridge Vent. Here we are, Ridge Cap here. Build that in. Let's go for ice and water. So you can see how this kind of works and how it flows. So I can say that's $200 a roll, 2-3 rolls, and yada as we go along. And then once you save it, everything breaks down right here for you. You can have memos to the customers that are standard. You can change them up if you want, but you could have like templated ideas here, and then you can preview and send it. It looks very good. It has your header on it, has everything there, and it can be sent directly to that customer by email. Same kind of thing. You can set that out, send it out to the customer, and send that invoice. And once you get that information, well, you might want to collect payment, right? So we can record the payment directly in here. Say it's a check, came in the order of $9,000 because I want to pay with $400 cash. It's not a problem. So the balance is $441.32. We record another payment, say that's cash. We're paying the tax with cash. I could leave notes and stuff about it as well. I have everything kind of set up now, so the balance is zero. Live, interactive measurements, invoices, showing where everything is coming through and allowing that to come through very easily for us, isn't it?
Yeah, and to answer Brian's question here, he said, "Will it make an invoice right out of the estimate with the same stuff?" That is the goal. This is step one, was just to give us the ability to actually make an invoice in the system, and that is going to be step two, right? It's to be able to do this right from your proposals so that it all flows really nicely. So one of the things that I love about this is that we've mirrored what we did with proposals and kept this incredibly simple and easy to use. A lot of the functionality and the experience of it is very similar to creating a proposal in our system. So, just very straightforward. It's going to be very easy for your team to learn how to use this and be able to implement it.
Yeah, what's cool is like you could even change the billing customer. So if you're doing like a landlord-tenant situation, you could have the job customer being, that's a horrible name because I can't pronounce it, but you can go in there and change that name to somebody else. I can go back in here, view all the stuff directly in there, and send it out to the landlord as well. And then we'll also be able to see kind of our status with all these proposals as well too. The ones that are paid, the ones that are pending, the ones that are past due, all this information right off the bat so that we are set up and we have truly everything that we need in one spot. And it just makes life so much easier when you have a complete end-to-end system.
Yeah. And we are literally down to like our last 40 seconds here. Brian, the answer is yes, that's coming very soon, right after invoicing. The ability to pay will be available on here. So stay tuned for that here by the end of the year. With our last 30 seconds, I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for jumping on with us today. Obviously, a ton of features. Took us the whole hour, which it almost never does, Nick.
I know.
But just an incredible amount of stuff to show you guys. So we were super excited to get on and show you all that stuff. And really appreciate everybody hanging with us and learning about all the new features of Roofr. And we will see you guys next time on the Roofr Masterclass. Thank you, Nick.
See you guys. Thanks so much, Pete.